Hello and welcome to Brocky Mountain Movies. I'm your host, Rocky Mountain Brock, and welcome back to Brocky Mountain Brocky Mountain Book Corner, where I have a special treat for you guys today. Instead of the typical one book hook, I am going to go ahead and talk about how 3 books simultaneously. Mainly because after reading Misfits, the 2 books that I could compare it to were one that I had immediately before that, Slugfest, and a book that I had approximately 10-ish years ago, Stormbreaker, by Anthony Horowitz. Now, Misfit, it definitely has its strengths and its weaknesses. It's your typical group of kids get sent to a private school where they train to become the next generation of super spies. And of course, after talking it over, they decide to label themselves the Misfits. Can they be able to break up the Bling King and the Bling King's reign, who is stealing priceless gems? The thing about his film, I felt that it was one that's definitely a bit shallow and trying too hard. Mainly when you get to the Academy itself, which is called Rash, R-A-S-C-H, instead of Rash. It's one of those academies that it's definitely into more independent learning, but in first forming the Misfits, the school decides it based on a couple categories, and one of the kids points out that the percentage doesn't add up to 100. It's like, it's 30% this, 40% this, and 47% this. And one of them points out, that's 117%. And he says, that's how much effort we want to give in. Which is actually a bit of the problem. If it's one of those cases where you're put in a position where you can't really fail, or the idea of failing is somewhat abstract, the stakes never feel genuine. And so when you go into the whole I really want to go to this school that it's supposed to be the world building aspect, it kind of falls flat. Where it succeeds, however, is in its main characters, the Misfits themselves. They have a very nice sense of camaraderie, and they get along well together. So all in all, while this book isn't exactly anything special, I even had to look it up online, and it was like I had to dig deep for it. Which is why you gotta look up the author instead of looking up just the Misfits. There's like 6 other things it could have been, including a band. But yes, so while I felt the entire book is kind of iffy at only a 5.6, I would say that had I liked a group of the Misfits themselves, and would therefore want to see what the next book is. Hopefully the first book is just an instance of growing pains, and gets better if you give it a little time. Stormbreaker is a book I thought of while reading Misfit. It's the sort of standard Spy Kids genre. The idea that if you're that an underage kid is put in sort of a James Bond scenario, that would be Alex Rider in a nutshell. The entire book is him infiltrating this rich millionaire who wants to commit some type of atrocious genocide with a few distinct henchmen. And can he use his literal James Bond gadgets to infiltrate and stop him? Yeah. Yeah, I felt this one was the basics of the Emma. I felt this one was the fairly basic sense, which is why I only gave it a score of 6. But here's the thing. I would read the next book in the Misfits. I didn't bother reading the next one of Alex Rider, which I think is a hints of you can be solid, but at the same time you need to be interesting and get people invested, which is why Slugfest, which has nothing to do with spies at all. In fact, it's about summer school PE and the kids that are stuck doing it for various reasons. Yeah, that's the plot. 8 kids who failed gym are stuck in summer school, and they with a retired home ec teacher as their coach. But you might be thinking that doesn't seem like much of a plot. But what makes it work is the characters and how they interact with each other. In addition, they're memorable. You got the main character, Yash, who, technically speaking, has spent time playing for the high school teams, so he didn't get to go to his middle school gym, and now has to make it up during the summer due to a clerical error. And then you got, of course, the ones that were injured, the ones that refused, and a couple who clearly did something stupid and therefore are being punished for it. But what I like most is definitely the camaraderie. While they're all stuck together, they do form a bit of a bond, and they end up forming their own football team and playing in a city championship. I know all of this sounds very Bad News Bears, but when you get down to it, Gordon Corman knows how to write interesting characters and funny stories. You like the characters, you like what they're going through, you're invested because they're invested in what's going on. And while this book it will in no way have a sequel, Gordon continues to be the golden boy and of making likable stories, which is why Slugfest gets an 8.6. So again, Slugfest is the best is the right way to do a gang of misfits. Stormbreaker is a standard kid put in a James Bond scenario, and Misfits probably needed another rewrite, but left a good cast and hopefully a good springboard for things to come. I'm Rocky Mountain Brock, and God bless.